So this morning, I'm going to be touching on a few things in my poetry, and I hope these words meet you where you need to be met. So the first poem is actually the very first poem I ever wrote, I ever performed here at Biola in Sutherland Auditorium almost 4 years ago today. And also, before I start, I want to give a special thank you to Glenn for this invitation to share this morning. This one's called Don't Tell Her She Is Beautiful. Don't tell her she is beautiful. She's learned not to believe it. You're not the first to tell her so and not the first to see it. See, her scars are not beautiful, and you can't convince her so. Because what if feeling unworthy of love is the closest thing to truth she knows? See, I bet you'd never guess that she's an artist, proficient in the art of comparison, skilled in the knowledge that she will never be good enough. Time itself is not capable of healing her wounds. She has mastered the art of hiding her pain behind the infamous mask of, I'm fine, how are you? She meets him, also an artist proficient in the art of restoration and skilled in the knowledge that she is his. He paints over the lies that have become a part of her, peels away at the labels that she has allowed to define her, filthy, guilty, and stained. Declares her his daughter, loved and worthy of it. I look up, wonder why he has taken the time to look upon a wretch like me. He tells me I am beautiful. I am learning to believe it. See, I didn't always love myself. This body positivity didn't come naturally to me, didn't happen overnight. Feels more like an oversized sweatshirt I can't quite fit myself into than my favorite pair of jeans. It took 10 years. For the word beautiful to mean anything to me whenever it was directed at me. It took 10 years and counting. Some days I'm still that 13-year-old girl who can't stand the sight of her own reflection in the mirror. Other days I know I be looking fly. Yeah. I try my hardest these days to look people straight in the eye whenever I walk into a room, or pass them on the street, or pay them at the register. It's a small act. But from grade 6 through 8, I wasted 3 years of my life always looking down, back hunched when I walked, afraid to make my presence known, my voice heard, my opinion counted. Looking back, I wish I had someone back then to look me straight in the eye, to straighten up my shoulders a bit, tell me to walk with my chin up, my eyes forward because of all this potential they saw just waiting to be out of my chest. I'm learning to take up space, to ask the hard questions, to speak up when my toes are being stepped on, to step out even when all I've ever known is shrinking small to meet others' expectations. But some days, it's okay that I still feel 13, that I don't always feel like $100 100% of the time, but here's to those 10 years of learning and failing and learning not to be so afraid of the failing anymore. I marvel at the woman she is becoming. I didn't always love myself. This next poem I'm going to read is about mental health, and I hope it encourages whoever needs to hear it today. A list of things that have helped me through my depression. The day my psychiatrist joked that I sounded like a 1 in a million case, and she laughed. She was the only one laughing. Later that night, I asked God why he had to make me so unique. I mean, I know Psalm 139 like the back of my hand. I am fearfully and wonderfully made in God's image. Couldn't help going to bed that night, just fearful. A list of things that have helped me through my depression. Number 1, texts from my little sister. Those little blue bubbles are the only way she knows how to say I love you in a family that never taught us how to verbalize our emotions. Number 2, my extroverted friends. The ones that pull me out of bed on the days that's the last thing I want to do. On the days this depression thinks it's going to win, thank God for these friends. Number 3, my introverted friends. The ones that can understand that my bed wins sometimes, and maybe more often than I'd like to admit, the ones willing to make an adventure out of another night in, thank God for these friends. Number 4, work. Because as inefficient as I feel these days, there's something about feeling like these hands have purpose in a season when it's been hard to believe it. 5, prayer. Though my words are a lot less eloquent, though this prayer sounds a lot more like anger, this ongoing conversation carries me through. 6, water. Insane amounts of it. 1 cup in the morning, right when I get up, and another right before I go to bed. Lots more all throughout the day. Number 7, my grandmother, Gama. Her gentle but persistent reminders to eat even when I don't feel like eating, reminding me to love this body, this skin I'm in. Even at almost 100 miles away, she is the only person I can really believe when she calls me beautiful. Number 8, cute boys. Thanks for laughing at that. Number 9, food. Its ability to bring people together, the inexplicable joy it gives me, the way a plate filled to the brim with food can easily bring me to tears. Number 10, top 40. Ed Sheeran, Sam Smith, James Arthur, their squad, and they don't even know it. Community. Communities, this community. The simple but transformative reminder that this journey, we will never have to walk alone. This journey, you will never have to walk alone. It was never intended to be that way. So the last one, I heard it was finals week coming up. Is that next week? So this poem is to hopefully encourage you as you go into that. And it's called Outliers. If you know the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, that's what I named this poem after. Failing does not make you a failure. I wish someone had told me that the first time I received a D on my report card. It was sophomore year. Miss Kruger's class. We were the Santiago High School Sharks, home of scholars, achievers, and champions. Could somebody please tell me why, in this sea of overachievers, I felt like I was the only one sinking? You see, model minority for me came with the underlying assumption that I could never ask for help, because admitting that I was struggling academically confused my teachers, confused my peers, confused my parents, confused the heck out of everyone around me, because aren't all Asian girls supposed to be good at math? And don't all AP students have great home lives and supportive parents and the resources they need to graduate and get to college? Isn't this how the educational system works? I swear my whole neighborhood heard me scream the moment I received my first college acceptance packet. I booked it straight to my room just moments after that joyful celebration with my father, and I cried. Because you see, I wasn't expecting that to be good news. No, in my mind, failing meant I was a failure. Flashbacks in my mind to all the red Fs, to that 59% on my last pre-calculus test, to afternoons spent to being well acquainted with the 4 dull walls of my math teacher's classrooms, because I was always spending my lunch making my tests up while my friends were out enjoying lunch, so what college would want me? But the letters kept coming, each one a miracle of sorts, reminding this brown girl of humble beginnings that she could amount to something, even if she wasn't all that good at math. Even if home was more a battlefield than a place to rest her bones in. This one is for the outliers. To the ones who've been told they'd never amount to anything, you are a miracle. Even if you're not that good at math, even if home is more a battlefield than a place to rest your bones in, failing does not make you a failure. Failing does not make you a failure. Failing does not make you a failure. Thank you.
My name is Micah Bournes, and I get inspiration for poetry from interesting places sometimes. And this first poem was inspired by a bottle of shampoo, and it's titled Normal Hair. I was showering at the home of a white friend, pondering deeply as I lathered my chocolate skin, when suddenly I got the inclination to observe the labels of the hygiene products placed neatly on the windowsill. One particular bottle struck me as queer. Garnier Fructis Fortifying Shampoo for normal hair. I thought, normal to whom? Based on my current residence, my hair is considered alien, yet I can think of several locations where it would fit the norm, like the Howard University dorms or the south side of Chicago. If I walked into a grocery store on 79th Street in the Chi and made my way to the shampoo aisle, I wonder what I'd find. Garnier Fructis Fortifying Shampoo for abnormal hair, you know, the kind you can't find around here, for the hair that lays straight, no kinks, no waves, for that crazy kind of hair that doesn't need grease. Or would it still read, for normal hair? Now, if you ask me the question, do I have normal hair, I'd answer, yes. Yet I doubt if that product was made for my texture. But I guess I can't complain. Who wants to be normal anyway? I know what normal really means. And no offense to normal people, but I have no desire to be normal. Then I started thinking, why don't we label everything normal as normal? Mayonnaise, the normal condiment. Country, screamo, and rock will all be called normal music. Barack Obama, the first abnormal president. Well, technically, he's half normal. Now do you see how ludicrous this concept of normality is? The only problem I have with normal people is that they think they're normal. Trust me, there is nothing normal about you. Many of my normal friends have lost pride in their heritage, while many of my normal friends lost pride in their heritage. Black girls cry themselves to sleep wishing they were light-skinned, while white girls lay for hours on the beach fabricating melanin. I just don't understand. I'm happy how I am, not full of pride, but proud to know I'm made in the image of God. And God is far from normal. And if every human being is fashioned after him, there is no typical human, no normal ethnic group. No matter who you are, red, yellow, black, normal, or blue, there's something divine about you. But I guess you can't know this if you don't know the God you reflect. You spend your whole life thinking you're normal or worthless, never knowing which of God's many attributes are present in you. I urge you to introduce your image to its template, Jesus Christ, the prototype. In many ways, a normal guy, rejected by men and despised, yet for them he was sacrificed. By this God was pleased. Therefore, thus says the Lord in Isaiah 53, verse 12, I will divide him a portion with the great, and all who know him will be like him as well. Normal? I think not. Followers of Christ possess the very Spirit of God, making us extraordinary. And as if by Christ we're not already great, just you wait. We've been given a promise of glorification. Each saint will undergo a magnificent transformation. From head to toe, every hair follicle will radiate with beauty unlike you've ever viewed. When we get to heaven, Garnier Fructis will not do. If your faith is in Christ, next time you run out of shampoo, take me up on this dare. Go to the store and ask the bag boy, where is the shampoo for glorious hair? So, I went to a school pretty similar to this one. I went to Moody Bible Institute in Chicago, Illinois. And while I was there, I got involved in this ministry that was through the school. And we would go into a juvenile detention center once a week, and we would meet with kids. It was a temporary holding facility for kids who had committed crimes. They were between the ages of 11 and 18. And basically, they were waiting for their trial. And depending on the outcome of their trial, they would either get released or sent off to prison. Well, Moody was lacking diversity, to say the least. I show up my freshman year, and I'm on a dorm. There was 30 guys on the 6th floor, and it was me, 1 Asian, and 28 white guys. And so that was the context at the time of Moody. And so most of the people in this program that we would go in were white students. So I was going in every week to this detention center with mostly white students from my school, and I couldn't help but notice week after week when we would go and we would sit down and we would just, talk with the guys, and we would pray for them. We could have Bible study if they wanted. They gave us snacks. But every week that I would go in, it was so strange to me because the overwhelming majority of the kids in this facility were from one culture, my culture. Over 90% of the boys in there were black. And it was confusing because Chicago is a huge city with millions of residents and dozens of cultures. And I thought to myself, how is it that almost all of the teenage criminals are black? And I thought, man, are we just more evil, more sinful than other people? It was hard. I didn't understand it. So I went in week after week with all my white students, to come do good and help these black criminal kids that look exactly like me. And I was only a year or two older than them at the time. Tension. But I got to talking to one kid one week, and he says, "You want to know how I got in here?" I said, "Sure, man, I'd love to hear your story." He goes, "Well, I'm from the south side of Chicago. If you're not familiar, the south side is predominantly black and one of the most impoverished areas in Chicago." He goes, this is winter time. I'm 14 years old. My mom got laid off work. It's me, my mom, and my little sister. She didn't have any money to pay rent, and our landlord kept threatening to kick us out in the middle of winter, below zero weather. My little sister, she was crying every night because she was hungry and we didn't have any food. He goes, "I wanted to help out, but I'm 14. You got to be 16 to get a real job." She said, "I never did drugs a day in my life before. I never sold drugs a day in my life before, but I knew the homies on the block. They would sell drugs and they would make money, and we were desperate. So I went to them and I said, 'Can you teach me how to sell drugs?' And I started paying rent, and I started buying groceries until I got busted by an undercover cop." He says, "You want to know the worst part about being in here? I don't know if my mom and my sister are sleeping out in the cold. I don't know if they have anything to eat, and I can't do nothing about it." When he said that, light bulbs went off. And all the tension was gone because I was like, no, black people are not more sinful than other people. We don't just need to repent. But we are, for a long history of reasons in America, we are more often born into desperate situations like that. And in his 14-year-old mind, it's easy to say, oh, those weren't his only two choices. But in his mind, they were. Be homeless and hungry in the middle of winter or sell drugs. And I find that a lot of moral people, a lot of Christian people with good hearts, but don't have relationships with the black community, they make quick judgments from the outside in. And they oversimplify morality. Selling drugs is wrong. You know, you sell drugs, you break the law, you deserve to go to jail. But one of my favorite verses in Scripture is Proverbs 6:30, and it says, "People do not despise a thief if he steals to satisfy his hunger when he's starving." Why? Because there is a difference between someone who steals because they have no respect for another person's property and someone who steals because they are starving. There's a difference between someone who just says, forget your nation's laws and illegally crosses the border because they just don't care, and someone who says, back where I'm from, it is so impoverished, I do not know if my children will survive childhood. It is so war-torn, I do not know if we will live because the neighbor's house just got blown to pieces. So yes, I'm willing to break a law to survive. This poem is titled Stealing Bread. Do not make me the exception to your stereotype. Do not use my success as evidence to condemn my brothers lazy. This land's booby traps simply missed me. Don't dare you disrespect my kin. I am no greater or less than them. You will cause division between us no more. Our less fortunate will be loved, not blamed for making the rest of us look bad. And I refuse to despise a poor man for stealing bread. We are poor men stealing bread, and I suggest you not despise us, or you just might anger God. If you are not afraid, make your way to any metropolis, USA. Go to the poor side of town, the hood side of town, the ghetto side of town, and what do you see? Poverty is supposed to be colorblind, but it is so closely tied to blackness, terms used for low economic status are now synonymous with a culture, a people. In American minds, black folks do not suffer from poverty. We are poverty. We are hood. We are ghetto. And we like it that way. Don't you hear how we rap about it? Remember how slaves used to sing about picking cotton? Oh, but slavery is done with, just like segregation. This nation elected a black president. Anyone who doesn't succeed is just making bad decisions. Black on black crime, remember? Alcohol and substance abuse. Absent black fathers, too. If black people would just be better people, then we would be better. Right? Look me in the eye. You warn your children not to step foot in the neighborhoods that ours have no choice but to be raised in. Then play ignorant as if success has nothing to do with the situations we are born into. As if most of us just don't want it as much as most of you. Your average child will thrive while our exceptional might make it out alive. So look me in the eye and tell me you believe we chose this. Tell me we're poor on purpose. Tell me you believe we like being hungry. Tell me we'd rather sell drugs than have a career. Tell me you believe we hate ourselves. Tell me we're lazy. Tell me we're ghetto. Look me in the eye. We are poor men stealing bread. And I suggest you not despise us. This last poem is titled Freakshow. I do have a table in the back with my CDs, but I just want to let everybody know, I know how it is to be broke and in college. All of my work is actually free. On my website, you can download all of my albums for free at micahbournes.com. I have 2 albums of poetry, a hip-hop album, and a blues album. So please check it out if you want to check out more of the work. But yeah, this is Freakshow. Never dismiss the visions of madmen. Wisdom can be gathered from anyone who sees what others cannot. Drunk men tell no tales. Poets cannot lie. Poets cannot lie because we do not divide fact from fiction. There's often more truth in our fantasy worlds and metaphors than human courts where liars swear to speak honestly in the name of laws they break, in the name of gods they disobey. The prayers of the proud will never reach heaven, but God hears the slurred words of the stumbling prophets, and all will be cursed who mock them. It is not an easy task to plead with the world, to grieve for the world, especially since God often speaks through those most broken. The picture we paint in our minds is a far cry from the reality of heaven. When the saints go marching in, it will not be a parade of the almost perfect. God does not reserve grace for those who only need a little bit. The healthy are in no need of a doctor. The healer is for the sick. Heaven will be a freak show. Promiscuous young men will embrace the virgin priests who molested them, and their hearts will both be pure. How amazing His grace. The street corner preacher will be greeted by thousands of people she thought were not listening. Thank you for enduring the times we mocked you. Your sidewalk sermons are why we know God. How amazing His grace. Aborted children will tug the spotless robes of young women and say, "Hello, mother. I'm so glad to finally meet you." The former master will see the lashed back of his no longer slave and say, "You taught me the love of the Savior." The suicide bomber who prayed for forgiveness during the millisecond between pressing the detonator and standing before the throne of God. The guilty thief hanging next to Jesus on the cross. The madman who spoke to invisible beings will stand between Michael and Gabriel with a grin as wide as an angel's wingspan and say, "I knew I wasn't crazy." The missus and the mistress, the victim and the rapist, the foreign and the racist, the bullies and the geeks. All those who somewhere along the way believed, whose sins were forgiven and strength was given to love their enemies. So many we swore there is no way in hell we would see them in heaven. But they will be there. We will be there with a song on our lips and our eyes full of faith. And we'll sing, "How amazing is grace."
Biola University prepares Christians to think biblically about everything, from science to business to education and the arts. Learn more at biola.edu.